Hey guys, Defcamp here, and welcome to another episode of DefTalk, the talk show that focuses on everything World of Warcraft, whether it's classic, retail, or the players that play it. We're going to cover it all. We have with us, of course, the one and only Melderon. How you doing, Melderon?
Hey
How
guys.
you doing?
Hey.
And with us, we have our guest, member of the community, Korlain. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having
Great to
me.
have you. Thanks for coming on the show. So today we have another Grand Marshal. I wanted to get this out of the way first. This is our second Grand Marshal that we've had, and I just want to let you guys know who have never either heard of Grand Marshal, never got there, or High Warlord. It's a hell of a grind. So we have someone with us who's been a WoW veteran, vanilla veteran to the max. So Corlane, how did you get introduced to WoW, and when did you first start playing?
According to my account history, I started in July of 2005, so it wasn't like initial release, not like a November 23rd player here, but it was. I had just graduated high school, so prime summer. One of my friends was already playing, so I just went out and picked it up, and that was it, man. Here we are, 13 years later. So yeah, I hadn't played any other MMOs. That was kind of my first one, and I was hanging out with this one friend like all the time, and I was like, yeah, why not? You know, he's playing it, and then just got hooked. That was it.
It was like initial just hook, right? That's all it was for us. We started playing. I was a senior in high school when I first started playing too, and never played an MMO. I've never played anything like WoW, and just going into that world for the first time. I mean, we talk about it now, but put yourself in the shoes of like 2005, right? There was nothing out there. I mean, yeah, you had like RuneScape, you had, all that kind of stuff, but nothing like what WoW was. To like this whole world where you can just have all these different journeys and experiences. There was nothing like that at the time. So a lot of people were just mesmerized by like how big this game was.
Yeah, dude, I remember that completely because I came from like just playing stuff like Halo, and nothing at all even close like this.
Yep.
I played stuff like Ocarina of Time or whatever,
Yep.
but like I can still like remember leveling through the beginning like Night Elf zones and then hitting like Darkshore. That was the first time I was like, oh my, this is huge. Like,
Yep.
and it was just crazy because it was all seamless. Like no loading. You just like you're there, and it was huge. Like I'll never forget that. I got there, and I remember like a level 30 something dwarf rogue rode by on a mount, and he had like it was probably like fiery and icy enchants, and I was like, oh my god, like that was like the coolest thing, because I didn't know anything about the game. It was just like, man, someday that's gonna be me right there.
I remember seeing the first person on like an epic mount and just a regular mount. It's like, first of all, level 40, it seems like so far away. You know what I mean? You're like, I have to wait this long to get a friggin' mount. But like when you see that mount, it's just like the drive. You're like, okay, I'll do whatever it takes to get a friggin' mount.
Yeah.
But I mean, just feeling like you're in this small corner of the world, in this like, like you said, Dark Shore. You're in this little tiny friggin' like New Jersey, basically. I said Dark Shore reminds me of like New Jersey.
It kind of looks like Jersey.
I mean?
The water looks
does,
really
right?
bad and polluted. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like this little corner, like the little trash can of Azeroth. Then you got this whole. So you basically had the same experience. Like me and Melderon, we played a lot of Halo online, and that was like our online experience. And then we played, of course, Ocarina of Time. All the great N64 games, PS1 games. And then it was like, wow. And then it was.
Yeah.
I stopped playing console games. Like I didn't play console games again for like 6-7 years. I sold all my consoles. And what were you gonna say, Melderon?
Oh, so every I was just going to talk about his beginning. So every WoW player, whether they're Grand Marshal, whether they cleared next, has humble beginnings, right? We all start as level 1. So what was your beginning like? How did you start out?
I don't really have that many, like, I don't remember much of, like, the initial leveling on my hunter. I know my first character was a Tauren warrior, and I played that a little bit, but, like, the hunter class is mostly what, like, I just instantly went to that, and that was it. I never level capped any other character in vanilla. It was just my hunter. So I can remember, I remember playing. I was actually landing at the one friend who got me into the game. I was landing at his house, and I remember I was probably like the most annoying person you can imagine because I didn't know about Alakazam or Wowhead or Thoughtbot, I guess it was back then. So like I would ask him where to go for literally like every quest, and I remember him just getting so annoyed. But like, it was just great because like you just know nothing, and everything was an adventure. Like seeing like the next mob to kill, it was just so cool. Like I'll never forget that. But it was really fun. So that summer we all just like land literally every night because a bunch more of us ended up getting the game, and actually we all played hunters. That was pretty funny.
Oh my god.
PvP
nightmare
right there.
Horrible for the person that ran into you guys.
Yeah, he was Horde, I was Alliance.
Oh wow.
And then a few of our other friends started playing, and they were all hunters. And I remember I had one friend who started playing a little late, and he ended up playing a Night Elf Hunter, but he was on another server. And I was like, well, you need to come play on our server. And he was like, dude, I'm already level 12. And I was like, oh, man, dang, I didn't realize you were that high. Like, it was like, oh, I completely get it, man. That would take forever to reroll. So, yeah, that was funny.
Dude, I got to say now, like, thank God for those people who are willing to, like, take you through every quest, tell you where to go. You got to do this. We had someone like that. It was Dan. Dan was basically our like guide through WoW, especially Melderon's guide. I kind of didn't have a guide myself. Like Melderon kind of passed on the information that he got from Dan to me. But I was playing Alliance. He was playing Horde. So, but like, thank God for those people who, because I mean, I don't have the patience to do that. To be like, okay, let's go here. Let's do this quest. You got to go to this guy. You got to train at this guy. You got to go to this guy over here. And like, there are, I call them like they're like the dads of WoW. They're like the dad characters. They're like they'll take your hand, they'll guide you through it. I try to do it a little bit. Like my thing is more like I'll help people quest. Like if I'm a healer, I'll sit there with you. Even if I don't have the quest, I'll like I was doing the Whirlwind Axe quest with a bunch of level 30 warriors. They couldn't even kill the guy, so I'll help you, but I don't have the patience to like run you through all that. And I mean, but thank God for those people because without them, I'd be lost. I would definitely be lost. Yeah,
I remember he showed me how to do the run, the infamous run to like Ironforge, for Night Elves. And I remember we did it once because I wanted to tame like a snow leopard or something like that. I was like, oh my gosh, they're so cool, so we ran out to like Dunmoreau to do that. And then the next day I like couldn't remember how to get there. So I was like calling him up, like having him walk me through like how to get back over there.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like when like this guy Dan, who we're trying to get him on a DefTalk. I don't know if it's going to be if YouTube will allow a kind of person like that on. He's an interesting guy. But anyway, so like, I would call him like all the time, be like, dude, where do I do blacksmithing again? Like I picked up a sword, why can't I use it? Or picked up an axe. And he's like, dude, you idiot, you have to go to... I mean, he would always be like condescending, but he would be very helpful, but he's always condescending. This is the kind of guy...
Condescending. Yeah. Always condescending. Yeah. He would never let you get by for a second that you're asking him for help. And that was the worst part about it. Like, to ask him for help meant that you were going to get your ass reamed for about 30 minutes with bullshit. He was going to be like, calling you a noob, all this crap. But in the meantime, you're just like, okay, whatever, screw you, Dan. I'm getting all my shit set.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's kind of easy to forget how much of a noob we were when we first started playing, because like everything now, and you get that person in Baron's chat or in whatever, and it's so easy to just like be like to dismiss them, like, oh, they don't know what they're doing, what a noob, whatever. But like you were there at one point, just try to help the guy out, because imagine what it's like to be a new player today when everyone in the whole world had like pretty much has played WoW, has experienced it, and most people are going to be like, messing with the guy, like, oh, where's Mankirk's wife? Oh, make sure you go to Stonetown Mountains. Then you got to go to Darkshire and all this, and the guy's walking around Eastern Kingdoms looking for Mankirk's wife. Like,
Yeah. Like, I feel like it was just, you're so new, especially back then, because nowadays, well, like coming from something like Halo, there's not really much like entry level knowledge needed. Like you just get on and like you shoot.
Yeah.
There's a few things, but like I wasn't even like prepared to like know to look for outside resources. Like you're just like completely lost if you have no idea. At least now there's, I don't know, maybe a few more resources people will be able or know about. But
Yeah, it's a little bit easier now, but for the most part, I mean, people like I'm just a lot of times just like just Google it or YouTube. A lot of people just don't want to. I guess it's like that. And I understand because I'm the same way. I don't want to like leave that experience. Like it's kind of like taking yourself out of the what's the word? Um,
Immersion?
Immersion. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. It's like taking yourself out of the immersion. As soon as you like alt like or tab and Google it or YouTube, you kind of I don't know. It kind of takes away from it. For me, I feel like
yeah,
it's better to like try to do it in game first. Maybe ask somebody, and then last resort for me is to Google it or YouTube. And now I don't have to do that as much because my knowledge has been. And also I have Melderon, who is like a encyclopedia for certain things, especially for dungeons. He's like a friggin' encyclopedia. But
Well, I don't.
but yeah,
It's because I'm partially an android. No, I'm just joking.
yeah.
So let's
But
talk about your.
yeah, I was gonna say, when did your PvP? When did you start putting your eyes to like PvP?
I PvP'd like while leveling. As far as I remember, like I don't remember being like, man, I'm gonna get Grand Marshal. Like, and that I didn't have like that goal from the beginning. I guess I remember just casually PvPing, and then I think I found out that like you had to be, I think it was rank 6 to zone in to the little, the PvP quarters.
Yeah.
So I thought that was neat, but I ended up like level capping and just PvPing, and I got fairly high, and then I think the goal was to get the epic mount from rank 11 because I didn't buy a normal epic mount. That was the goal then, was rank 11, and then I just kept going because like at the time I was starting college and I had the time to play.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like how you were starting college and had the time to play. That's
yeah,
a great
I had
statement.
tons of time then.
Sounds a lot like Melderon's college experience.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, I wasn't on like servers probably like Tichondrius or BlackRock were probably like, you hear the stories of like, man, it was like so impossible to rank, but
Mm-hmm.
I was on Kilrog, and
Okay.
it wasn't like low pop, but it wasn't crazy either.
Right.
So it didn't really I don't remember it being that bad until you get up towards maybe 10 or 11,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got to make the choice of like, well, do I keep going or not?
Yeah.
And at the time I was raiding too, so I ended up telling all the officers that I had to take the break from raiding because I was gonna keep ranking. And so I ended up doing that, and it wasn't like horrible. I never had to like account share or anything like that. Like they always say like, oh, you had to have multiple people playing shifts on your account, but like that really wasn't the case. I did it all pretty much by myself. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, ended up playing one AV for me. Well, because it sounds terrible, but I went to the movies with some friends, and we stayed and played an AV for me. But other than that,
It's
it
like,
was
babe,
all...
I just really need you to do this for me. Just go into this
I want to see
thing.
the movie too.
Yeah.
No, you gotta stay home and do a rapid basement for me.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
she
weekend,
she
babe.
did
Come on.
AV. I remember she was like, I don't even know how to play a hunter. I'm like, well, just volley on as many people as you can. You got to get the HKs.
Oh my God.
So yeah, there's that, I guess. But yeah, I ended up taking a break from raiding, and I ended up finally ranking, and I ended up playing with like I had my own group that we ran, for PvP, and I ended up joining another guild after another raiding guild, which is the one I finished vanilla in, because I PvP'd with all those people. And sorry, it's starting to rain here. I don't know if you can hear the thunder.
Oh, that sounds like a gunshot.
Yeah, but yeah, so it took a while.
Yeah,
But
that's what I want to get at. So for the people who never grinded to High Warlord or Grand Marshal, give an idea of how much time it took for you to get there. Like time as far as from this many months, and also time like how many hours per day were you grinding?
I want to say going from 11 to 14 was probably somewhere around 2-ish months to 3 months maybe. And I played quite a bit. And at the end, going from like at 14, it was probably like 10 hours a day, maybe
And
more.
just
I mean,
Wow.
it's hard to like remember it, but like yeah, in it that was before cross realm BGs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you weren't on like a highly populated server or like a faction imbalanced server, you could wait a while. Like I remember I would queue at the Battlemaster in Ironforge, and then I would just like watch local defense, and people would like attack Astronar. So I would like fly to Menethil, take the boat all the way over, fly to Astronar, and then World PvP all within the queue.
That's
Which
freaking
that takes quite a while, but
Yeah.
like that's
a long queue then. Jesus, yeah.
yeah. Sometimes I mean it wasn't always that bad.
Right. But so you're always trying to PvP even while waiting for the BGQs.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
like,
much.
wherever the action is, I'm there.
Yeah.
And as a hunter, you're kind of you're pretty mobile, so you're able to get well, it wouldn't be like a mage, you can get everywhere quick, but at least you have basically you can get to places pretty quick as a hunter. I mean, you have your mount at that point, so it's not really a big deal. But what were like some tricks that you maybe some things that maybe you did that kind of helped you along the way? Did you have engineering stuff like that, or?
No, I didn't. Actually, that's kind of a funny thing. I like didn't even have professions leveled, and it was funny because I ended up like getting so high, and then I finally went for rank 14, and I didn't even like have enough gold to buy the weapons when I got it because you couldn't farm. So like I remember I had to borrow the gold from one of my real life friends who played. And it was, I want to say it was something like 300 gold. Like,
it's a lot.
I bought like all the weapons I could use, like all the one-handed axes.
You're a hunter, you gotta get everything, of course.
Yeah, the staff and everything. You have to buy everything. So I ended up borrowing that gold. And then the friend that loaned me the gold was like, "What are you gonna do now that you're like done?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna go level first aid."
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna go level.
Oh, you didn't even
like,
have first aid? Jesus.
It wasn't max. I was like, I'm gonna go level leatherworking, and he was like, "Really? That's what you're gonna do with all your gear?" So yeah, I kind of took a break because at that point you're like, man, I've been playing nothing but BGs like every day for hours.
My God. Well, you heard it here first, guys. You don't need first aid to get to Grand Marshal or High Warlord.
Or engineering, apparently.
You don't need it. You just need the perseverance.
Yeah, you basically need to have a full-time job. So that's 10 hours a day, 3 months. That's over a full-time. That's over 40 hours a week. How did you juggle college with that, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, it wasn't really too bad. I would kind of like I would stack classes on like certain days. So like other days I wouldn't have any classes, and it really wasn't all that bad. And I would play. I played on a laptop at the time, so I would take it to college.
Take it to class, yeah.
Yeah, play like in between.
Teachers asking questions, you're like putting your hands up in the air, like, oh, you want to answer the question?
I just got ganked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good time.
That's incredible. So did you have any? Did anyone help you as far as like? Did anyone like I don't know?
Like your buddies, you have healers that helped you, or?
I didn't end up playing. Only one of my real life friends who was a Night Elf hunter as well. Like actually PvP'd a lot, and he got to rank 11 for the mount as well. But like once you get like pretty high up, you either have to play a ton as a solo player, just play like literally all the time, or you run a group or you're part of a group. So like we ended up having a group that would just we would roll everybody, would just beat everyone, and none of them were like any real life friends. It was all just people I met through the game. But yeah, you kind of just go with that.
Wow. Dude, I'm just imagining like the amount of just like perseverance you have to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it. Like it says something, I think, about a person's character. I really do, because you're juggling college. You have a girlfriend. You're in a relationship, and this is the girl you ended up marrying, right?
Yeah.
So it's like things went pretty well. So you must have done something, right?
I guess I should interject. She got Marshal as well. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So she was
awesome,
she was after me though, because she started a few months. I don't remember when exactly, but she wasn't like right when I started playing. But she played a mage and ended up getting to Marshal. And well, she technically could have got Field Marshal before Burning Crusade, but she would have had to play through like Thanksgiving and stuff. So she was like, there's no point, so I'll just stop there. But yeah, she got rank 12.
So the thing is, you found the right girl. That's
Yep,
the thing.
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, any girl that's okay with you, like going to the movies with your buddies and like grinding, helping you grind your hunter, and then like just dude. I mean, that's a great thing. I think that is a great thing. So do you have any regrets? I mean, do you have any like? I mean, do you think it was definitely something that you are really proud of? I mean, I would definitely be proud of it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. Like, vanilla was a really good time. I mean, you just stood out like so much. Like, especially if you're rank 14, that armor, like you get whispers all the time. And I ended up getting the ZG Raptor later in the expansion too. So like, and it was funny because one of the warriors that got rank 14 in my group, he also ended up getting the ZG Raptor. So we would sit on like the Ironforge Bridge on either pillar, and it was just awesome.
Badasses. I walk by those guys all the time. He's like, oh my god, I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah, it was. I remember when I got it. I was on my way. This was after I ranked. I was on my way to like an Onyxia or something, and one of the hunters, we had our own like hunter channel for the guild, and she was like, "You're bugged. It shows a raptor icon like as one of your buffs," and I'm like, "Nope, that's right." It was just really funny because like it was so rare.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So do you ever log on like nowadays and just log on your Grand Marshal character? The thing is though, people will be like, "What the hell is Grand Marshal? I never heard that title before."
Yeah, no one would even. No one, because you can buy it from a vendor. If you're at the level, all the armor and stuff. So you kind of.
That's right. Yeah.
And I feel like no one, like the game's just so different. You don't notice anything, and I don't know. Just no one. I don't think if I logged on now, anyone would even really notice what it was.
Do you play? Did you stop playing WoW? Retail WoW?
Pretty much. I mean, I've had an active account pretty much the whole time. It's still active right now, but I really don't play. I haven't played seriously since the beginning of probably Mists. I've played in Legion, but not like anything. I stopped raiding like competitively in the beginning of Mists.
It's just not the same, right?
It's still, I mean, I would say it's challenging, but my main thing with retail WoW is I feel like nothing matters. And if there's one, like the most important thing I think for Classic is it needs to not be cross-realm. Yes. Like that's the biggest thing in my opinion. You have to be, because from someone who PvP'd every day, I could list off like, the main tanks of a lot of the top guilds, both on Horde or Alliance, because you just get to know these people when it's your one server. And like even more so like the PvP groups, these are people I never could even talk to back then. I couldn't talk to Horde people really, but you knew. You're like, oh man, like on our server, the opposing faction's best guild was called Temporary Insanity, and it's like, oh, there they are. You recognize the names, and it's just so much better when like people, like things just matter more to me. Like they have value. Like you would just know. Like it's just such a community. I just can't explain it.
There's that asshole who killed us 4 times, and in the Barons, let's go and kill him. And it makes you feel closer to the people in your team because of the relationships you have with the people on the opposite faction. So it makes you feel like brothers in arms. You know what I mean? And you get that true feeling of like, oh no, I got your back. You know what I mean? And me and Phil were doing this the other day. Like, I hate when you go and you help somebody who's getting ganked and then they just run away. I'm like, oh my god, at least fight back, you dick. But so I know, man. It's like that feeling. But okay, so we've been playing a little bit on the new server. I forget what it's called. Something. I'm not gonna mention it. But the problem I think, and I know a lot of guys who try to get like the High Warlord grind and the Grand Marshal grind. A lot of people I've talked to, they're like, oh yeah, high pops, all for it. But I feel like 10,000 people on a server is just too much, man. It's like insane. And I can see, because you get a lot more kills, but then there's also that many more people, trying to get the Grand Marshal and trying to get the High Warlord. So it's like it kind of evens out. What do you think about population size? Should they be like they were in vanilla for classic, or should they be, something like they are in private servers?
I think it should be similar. Like, was it 2,500? Is that what people accept?
2,500, 3K around that. Yeah, 25. I'm pretty sure it was.
I mean, I get what people are saying. Like you don't want to wait like 10, 15 minutes to get into a BG, but I feel like making a 10K population cap isn't the appropriate fix to that. Like let's just see how it goes with as close to classic as we can. 3K is what I think we should go at. And if it's too like sparse, then maybe they offer like mergers or something. But I just don't think you should jump straight to like 10K because that's not authentic, and it's too much. Like they'll have the capacity to make it right. I think.
I agree. I just don't think that. And I said this in a recent vlog, which isn't up yet, or maybe it is up yet, depending on when this video comes out. But I don't think the world is big enough for 10,000 people. I don't think Azeroth can. The NPC to player ratio is so off. It's just it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel
about dynamic respawning because it's ridiculous. It's when the server first went up on this on the private server, I remember like Agaman Mills. It was insane. You go in there and everything would be dead, and then a split second everything would respawn. And you're in there trying to do a quest, and now there's 40 mobs on you. I remember seeing like 5 undead running out of the mills with like 40 like ghosts chasing them. Like how do you it's just ridiculous. Then you have people like camping the spots for mob spawns. Like everywhere where a mob spawn, they would like be like a circle of people just camping the spot.
Yeah, like there's that little Kultiran area in the Orc zone, and you get that. You have to loot that chest on top. Yeah, man, it's bad. But,
there was a line of people there. There's screenshots, and then you have people busting the line, and there's no way to stop them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I think, and I say this in the vlog, and I'll say it again. Northdale did the dynamic respawn as a band-aid. It has to be done. There's no other way around it. It's not their fault. There's one server. They have to open it up to as many people as they possibly can.
Yeah.
They're doing what they can. It's not their fault. But at the same time, Blizzard needs to look at this and really take a lesson from what's going on here.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like crazy, but I almost don't want it to be like I don't want everything to be massively convenient just because you're throwing a bunch of people on a server. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember I had people on my friends list who could do like 15 agility to gloves, because you'd add them because it was kind of rare. I kind of like that aspect of it. Like, when there's like everybody has everything and everything's camped all the time, like that's not how it was, and that's I don't think it's good. I think it should be close to.
Yeah, I think there's like a perfect like balance. Like, see, the thing is with any new server, it's going to be crazy at the beginning because everyone's in the same zones, right? Everyone's in. Even if it's a 3K pop, it's still going to be kind of crazy in the beginning.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing now, there's people spread out through all different levels now. Most of the people are around level 30, 40, and you're getting like zones like STV Arathi that are just crawling with people. And I don't know, it seems like there's a lot more alliance or the horde. Like it's just, I died like I think 70 times in like 2 hours. It was ridiculous, and I'm not like complaining. Like I love PvP, but it just gets ridiculous to a point. And, I think there's like a balance. And like you said, Melderon, I think Blizzard needs to look at this and see, okay, are we going to stick with our original population sizes, go a little bit higher, do this, do that, and to see, what would be better because they, of course, can handle more people on servers now. That's the difference. Maybe they couldn't do that.
But can Azeroth handle? That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the question. And inherently that would cause changes if they were to try to increase the size. That would cause, respawn timers to be different. Who else knows what else could be different? But I think, I honestly think like 3K is the perfect size. It's, and there's going to be a lot of servers that are going to be really healthy, really populated. And I think, I think that the original population server size is 2.5. Maybe make it like 3K. I think that is perfect. I really don't think you need anything more than that.
Yeah. That's how I feel about most things. Is like I'd rather just go the no changes route, like because to me that's like the whole point of this is like everyone wanted just classic. So I would rather start with 2.5, 3K, and then if it is a problem, maybe at some point they can discuss options, but like just go with original for now and just see how it goes. Like that's that's the whole point to me.
Yeah.
So would you
pretty much
consider?
no changes?
Yeah, just was going to ask the same thing.
Well, that
You're pretty much no changes then with like across the board.
for the most part. I mean, I've I've watched every classic WoW video there probably is on YouTube. You know, all the new content creators and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I see the arguments for like, well, you know, debuff slots. I mean, I don't know. The whole point to me is to recreate it and just see how it goes with that.
Yep.
If it's really like glaring issues and the community decides like, you know, yeah, maybe it is time for a change, then let's see it when we come to it. But you know, release it how it was for now, and let's see where we go with it.
Absolutely agree with that. It's like we say, you know, there's plenty of options that people have now. You can either play, you want those things, the new improved WoW, you can play retail. You know what I mean? Like that's like Blizzard's throwing a wide net with this now, trying to get as many people as they can. You can have, you know, the best as you want. If you're looking for a classic, you have it here. Make it as it was. You know, like you said, improve on it if it needs improvements from that. But I think to release it the way it was, that's the best thing to do. That way, you know, if there are any problems that come out, like any oversights, you know, that maybe they overlooked things that were taken advantage of, they can deal with them as they did in vanilla when the time was right. So, I mean, I guess you're pretty much right there on there with us with that, because you know, it's just, I think the logical standpoint for me. I don't know. That's all I feel.
So is there a place, is there a somewhere Blizzard could go that you wouldn't play? Basically, is there a point that you would just be like, I'm done, I'm not playing this, change wise?
I mean, I'm just super excited to play something at least close to classic. Like, I mean, it's hard to say where you'd really draw the line. I mean, I don't think there's any way they're going to add, you know, Dungeon Finder or anything. That seems pretty clear at this point, but I would probably play most of whatever they release. I think I'm fairly confident it's going to be close enough to what I want that I'm going to play it, I guess is how I'd word it.
Gotcha. Now, if someone who's like focuses on, you know, PvP, would you, so like, of course we all know, like with the whole dev watercooler announcement, it looks like 1.12 1 launch is probably going to be the way it is, but would you like to see a 1.1 start, you know, without battlegrounds, that kind of thing, or would that be?
I think the best approach is the 1.12 foundation. Go with like all those talents, because I just don't see it being like, I don't think anyone's really like, man, I want to play, you know, with this spec that doesn't really get good until, you know, the ZG patch or whatever. I mean, there's probably some people out there that want. I just think it's safer.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, I get wanting to see an exact copy. That'd be cool, but I think the safest approach is to do the 112 with like gated release of stuff. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to the BGs coming out. Like, I think it'd be really cool if they, like, have you guys seen the Naxxramas trailer that Hurricane made?
So amazing.
See, now that's the perfect example to me. Like, release it and then maybe in a month do Battlegrounds and make a trailer like that. Like, promote it, hype it up, you know? Like, you know, I don't think Dire Maul should come out either, because that kind of screws up with like a lot of the itemization in the beginning, you know, like a lot of people have said, but like make a trailer for it, make it cool. Like, I don't see why, like, they should be all in on this and be kind of proud of it. I don't see why not. Like, I think it'd be really cool if they kind of did a Diablo 3 kind of approach to the game, where they have a certain set of vanilla servers that will always stay classic. Like, there won't be Burning Crusade added or any additional content. You can just you can stay there. And then whether or not they decide to do a BC server and you can copy a character from there, but you still have your one on classic that'll always be classic. Like, I think that should be a thing.
Me too.
But I wouldn't be opposed to doing like, well, here's season 1 of classic where I don't know, maybe you add stuff like Mythic Plus from retail, but into, you know, weird stuff like that, like on a separate server though.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
or just
yep.
make the raids harder, whatever. You know,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be opposed to something like that as long as you still had the option for the completely classic server as well.
Exactly. Yeah, we talked about this, kind of like having an experimental realm, basically, where Blizzard can just do like crazy things, like have a patch 1.13. Have a realm where, um, you know, it's basically like an experiment. They do different things. If people ask for it, they want this patch 1.13. They want Karazhan vanilla. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
want this, that, and you have your pure classic realms, and then you just have like one or two realms like that. And I think as long as we have the classic progression as it was going into BC, and then maybe probably Wrath, and then maybe having, like you said, something like that on the side, I think that would be pretty cool. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's not something that people are forced to do. You don't have to do it.
yeah,
But I know there's a lot of people out there who want like a patch 1.13. A lot of people out there would love to try like vanilla arena,
yeah, yeah,
like they
stuff like
had in the
that.
late, yeah, stuff like that.
I
So
think that'd be really cool because,
that
like,
would be really cool.
I mean, you saw how hyped Northdale is. You know,
Yeah.
people are eventually going to want a fresh server
Yes.
to
Absolutely.
re rank or whatever. So I think
Mhm.
something like the seasons or do real well in Diablo, and I think it'd be
Very
cool.
good point. Yeah, about the
Yeah.
seasons. Yeah, very good point. So, just going back really quickly about the Dire Maul thing, it just got me. I have to admit, I was just out in the void for a second while you were talking about that. I was just thinking about like the awesome like lore behind Dire Maul, and just
Mhm.
having this like epic trailer about like the centaur and about the princess and about the
Dude,
elements. Dude, it would be amazing, and it would hype up Dire Maul so much.
I
It would
know.
be really really cool, man. And I just think that if the art department really, if they have an art department for classic, or if the art department from BFA comes over and just does an epic show, they do great jobs with the cinematics. So if they do a
Amazing.
cinematic, that would be incredible,
Yeah,
incredible.
And they've done it for, like, you remember in Warlords of Draenor they had like it was called, it was like the artistic, like they had one for Gul'dan, all the leaders of the tribes of the from Draenor.
Yeah.
They had all these like little stories and like,
Oh, the animated stories you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it could be something like that. It could be something like you said, like a trailer, but like hype it up, dude, because there's so much hype behind classic, and people love to be hyped up. Like, people love it.
yeah,
And you do something like that, it's gonna just get people so excited for it. And
yeah,
I think Blizzard has an amazing. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday, Melderon. Like the art in WoW, like
Yes.
the music, the every aspect, just the art of the programming of the world. Like, it's an amazing piece of art, and they have some of the best artists in the gaming world, I think, working over there at Blizzard. Use it to draw people in, and I think they really could do something awesome there. Like you said, like a Dire Maul trailer, dude. That would be so cool. A Maraudon trailer.
yeah.
Imagine a friggin' like BWL trailer, or like an MC trailer. You see Rag, and we saw what they did with that Nax one. Imagine what Blizzard could do. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, I just think it'd be really cool. People want those things. They
Yeah.
eat them up. You know, even if you've already seen it 1,000 times, you've killed Rag a
Exactly.
million times. Like, if they launch that with like just a trailer for a classic, and it has Rag, and like it'd just be so cool. Because, like, look at the AQ gate opening. That's
Yeah.
like one of the best events in gaming history. Like, I
Yep.
remember watching it. Like, did you guys do the AQ event when?
We just like started playing around that time.
Yeah,
So
see,
Yeah.
I was level capped, and I remember because I'm East Coast, but I played on a West Coast server, so it was at like 3 or 4 in the morning, I think, for me. But me and the one friend that bought WoW before me, he came over to my house, and we were like there for it. It was nuts. It was like the whole server was there, and it was incredibly laggy, but it was super cool.
oh God, I wish I was there for it. Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
was level like
people.
20 something at the time or something like that. I don't even
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember.
I
Yeah.
I do remember like seeing the quest givers for the
Oh yeah,
for the war
and like
effort, and I'm like, I'm not giving them. I'm
yeah.
not giving you my
Yeah,
goal.
it's like
yeah,
I think I actually did one time. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get a cool quest reward or something like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, he just took my copper. What
Yeah.
I mean,
the hell?
there was just a lot of those types of things in classic for me. Like, I remember, like, we would go to we went to the movies one night, and this was all my real life friends that played WoW too, and we couldn't wait to get back home
Is this
because
when you left your girlfriend at the? No, I'm just joking.
no, this was another time.
This is another time.
But, this was when the patch had came out to update tier 2.
Okay.
So like we all came back to my house, and we were just going around Ironforge like looking for anyone that had pieces of tier 2, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a different time back then. Just like trying to find everyone on your server that you knew had tier 2 and that kind of stuff.
So let's change gears a little bit. You also have a lot of raiding experience. So how far did you get in vanilla raiding? What was your favorite memorable moments? Maybe favorite raid?
Favorite raid was definitely Nax. I mean, it's just so polished. Like it was just another step above everything before it. But I ended up going 8 bosses into Nax.
Nice, dude.
And yeah, my server, there was only one guild that killed Kel'Thuzad, and they were on alliance with me as well.
Nice.
And we killed Cthulhu. Like a lot of people skipped Cthulhu. A lot of people didn't kill that. But that might have been my favorite moment, because a lot of like Nax was hard, but killing Cthulhu was like a pretty good. If you weren't the best guild, that was a pretty good achievement, at least on my server.
Yeah.
So that was probably the best kill. I mean, that was just a super fun fight.
The amount of coordination it takes for that fight, with the eye stalks, and it's just a lot, the placement and everything. It's like it's a crazy fight, and as with 40 people in that fight, it can be a cluster F if you don't do it properly.
Yeah.
So like I can imagine as a guild like downing that and just being like for the first time like in vanilla, just being an epic moment.
Yeah, and the Nax boxes were hard and they were cool, but it's not like we killed 4 horsemen or anything that was like a real, like we got Saffron or Kel'Thuzad, so I can't really say. Like it was cool killing them, but I think Cthulhu was a little step above, because like hardly anyone. I think only 3 guilds killed Cthulhu.
Wow.
On my server. So,
that's crazy, man. So this was after you hit Grand Marshal?
Yeah, because I ended up joining another guild, because a lot of the people in my PvP group were in that guild, so I ended up going to them after I ranked. And that's who I stayed with for the majority of vanilla. They kind of we started having like roster problems. I think tanks were leaving because the best guild on the server was recruiting them for 4 horsemen. And BC got announced, so people were kind of getting burned out. But yeah.
It's kind of what happens at the end of every expansion. It's just like, why even do it? Expansion's coming out.
But it was cool because one guild on the server did kill Kel'Thuzad, and they had 2 legendary staves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Atiyesh. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Teleports you to Karazhan for no damn reason.
Yep.
That's true. That's a grind in itself, and I think that everyone forgets that there were a lot of grindy. There was a grindy legendary, and everyone's and
a lot of grinds.
Atiyesh was. That's really cool. So do you are you interested after? So let's pretend 4 or 5 years from now, hopefully. Classic has been out. There's been maybe a fresh server's been put out. Do you think Blizzard will introduce the Burning Crusade as the next project, and will you play on that?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's more plausible of a route than doing like additional vanilla content that never made it in.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people that want BC. Like I don't know if I would say more people like BC than vanilla, but I would honestly say it's pretty close. That was a really good version of the game.
I personally I started playing vanilla. I was a really big noob. I did a lot of PvP. I did a few raids. Didn't do much. In BC, my experience exploded. I cleared every raid. I did all the content. I did arena. I feel like I became more of a professional player, I guess, in the Burning Crusade. I feel like I was kind of like a young fledgling, like learning everything in vanilla. I mean, it was an awesome experience. This is why I'm looking so forward to Classic, because I missed a lot of early vanilla. But for me, like BC is when I was just, I was doing like hardcore raiding. I was doing everything, and I think raiding and nothing for me is better than Holy Priest healing in the Burning Crusade. Like I love it. It's just so enjoyable for me. I love it. I love the amount of just the amount of like abilities you have. I think it's perfect versus the amount of mechanics. I feel like everything, the balancing. I just feel like so many things. I know a lot of people don't like flying and stuff like that, but I feel like so many raid aspects and PvP aspects were improved upon so much from vanilla, and the game was just at like its perfect point in BC. I really believe that.
Yeah, I would kind of agree. I think everything from vanilla got like polished to its best, I would say, in Burning Crusade. The only I wish you had that type of like gameplay, but in the vanilla world, because like everything got super small in Outland. You only pretty much hung out in that zone, but it was really, really good. I would definitely agree with that. Like everything, PvP was fun, raiding was awesome. I feel like 25 and 10-man raids were.
Yeah.
I guess I would probably say better. Like it's just hard to manage a 40-man raid, but
yeah. So were you in the same guild, or did you?
We actually I ended up playing with a few. Like we made a real life friends guild and everything, but I ended up joining about half of the players from the best guild in vanilla, and I ended up making a lot of friends with them, and we would end up doing our best rating in Cataclysm as 10-man guild with a lot of those people. We were
oh wow.
Yeah, we were pushing like real. That was when we were going our hardest. Then we got a few US first 10-man kills and that kind of stuff. But,
nice, dude.
Yeah, but yeah, I rated in Burning Crusade too.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on flying mounts and World PvP?
It pretty much ruined it. I mean, you can't really argue against it. Like, if you like World PvP, then I don't see how you'd like the option to just fly away.
Yeah.
In my opinion, at least.
Friggin' druids.
God. Yeah.
Oh my god. Friggin' hate druids.
Instant cast. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it took away like a dynamic of the game. Like, if you're going through a regularly populated server, like I remember. We played briefly on a PvP server in BC, and it's just you go from like doing your quest to like, man, should I engage this other group here or this other person? And it's just like you could be 2 hours go by and you don't even notice it because you're trying to like gain dominance in the zone, and it's so different. And I think if you're into that thing, then flying just completely destroys it.
It does. It's sad, and I remember like getting my flying mount for the first time, like when I hit 70. It was pretty cool. Like just being able to like fly in WoW felt so weird to me. It felt like so different. But then it was just like, okay, like I got flying now, and it was just, and like you said, like I used to do Hala a lot and all that, and I used to like love. I used to get like grounded to get like the towel buck and all that stuff, and and then we'd have so many battles like outside of Hala and stuff like that, and then they would just fly away, and it's just like. Couldn't do that in vanilla. You can't do that in vanilla. You can't do it in the old world. It's just like everything felt more. You felt more vulnerable in vanilla, And I wanted to get to this question. So I've noticed something. I just want to see. So are you pretty much for the Alliance?
I would play either faction. I'm more prone to Alliance.
Okay.
But my dilemma is I want Salve.
Yeah.
And I want Wind Fury. And I want Wind Fury. But like I can't. That's the struggle, man. That's the struggle.
Dude, my struggle is I want Holy Paladin, but I want to play Horde. So that's my struggle. Yeah. I love Holy Paladin.
Well, you guys can, when BC comes out, you guys can have your cake and eat it too. No, I'm just joking.
No, it's not the same. In BC, I had to play Holy Priest. It's just that good.
So,
but So I just want to ask this question real quick. So I've noticed, and maybe this is just my perception, that when I'm on my Horde character, I feel like it's less that like I feel like an Alliance, when it's just one person, they'll leave you alone. But as soon as they have another person, they gank. It's like they're like a little punk kid who is talking stuff, and if they're by themselves, they won't say anything. But if they have a couple people with them, they'll try to gank you. Yeah. But as Horde, tend to respect the 1v1 a little bit more than that. Because like when Melderon wants to gank somebody, he's like, "Oh, I'm like, you go do it. Like just 1v1 him. I'll be over here." He's like, "Okay." But in an Alliance, oh, this rogue just ran by me. Oh, now he's coming with a hunter and a mage, and now he's gonna come gank me 3v1.
Yep.
Like, what the hell, Alliance? Like, why does it always feel like Ally they won't fight you 1v1? They have to fight you with a group. Is that something? Am I just crazy, or Ally more like that?
Scumbag Alliance. That's what I think.
Dude. Respect the 1v1, man. It's about the honor. God.
Yep.
You know, it's
or you think you're 1v1ing, and then it's me in the corner, Shadow Meld aim shot, 3K right
You
there.
son
You
of a
couldn't even
bitch.
see me. Yep.
That happened to me many times.
Yeah. I think there's maybe some. I think there is credence to say that there is a certain human characters that go towards certain factions. I think that's definitely true. But I think that it goes both ways. I think that there are horde characters that like to mass one person.
Absolutely.
But I do think that specifically Tauren. I don't know why this is. Taurens tend to be very noble people in game.
Docile.
Very docile and very like, oh, I'll just go here and pick my peace bloom and just.
Unless it's like a Tauren troll guy, like oh, I'm a Tauren, like my name's Cal, like Utter or something. Or something like that.
Exactly.
Then he's a dick. Yeah. Or like, I'm big Cal, something. But yeah, it's like and for the allies, like they're great in like they always tend to stay in groups. Like even in battlegrounds, like you're doing WSG and like they're running together. When Horde is like half the groups in the middle, half the groups in the flag room, and 2 guys are trying to get the flag. Like guys, like stay in a group. But it always seems like Alliance are always running in the whole group together.
Yeah.
And it's even like that in World PvP. And I gotta say, like I think that's good to a certain extent, but dude, like grow a pair and 1v1 instead of getting 2 of your buddies. And you got four. I used
Sounds like to
love
me,
them.
Matt's a little.
No, you know what I used to
salty
love
about
though is like you're running along and there's like a single like human mage, right? Like I'm gonna go gank him, and then all of a sudden 5 like druid, 5 like night elves on a shadow meld like standing on a log or something like that, and just destroy you.
Yep.
Dude, shadow meld is so OP in World PvP.
Yeah.
It really
is. Because of like for me, it was like every hunter had a stealth cat too, so you'd never know. It was always stables, always there defending stables.
Oh my god!
And I would crit aim shots all day for like 3K at the end. If you're well geared and a mage, man, that would.
Like
I remember my friend had a mod that would take a screenshot every time he would break like a crit record. And we always would make fun of this one undead mage because he just one-shot him every time. Didn't matter if he had ice barrier, it was just scattershot trap, and then he's done.
Sounds like Shrek.
Oh yeah, our buddy. Yeah, that's. So I do want to get into a little bit of not theory crafting, but so you have both experience in PvP and PvE, pretty extensive experience. For non-hunters out there like me, I don't know anything about hunters at all. What are the specs and talents that you think are that you rolled with, or are best for PvP versus PvE and stuff like that?
Pretty much everyone's gonna probably level Beast. I mean, it's just your go-to. Like it just makes sense. Your pet's stronger; it can tank stuff for you. But once you're raiding, it's pretty much Marksman. Most people go 31 points into that. There's kind of, or at least I remember there being a break point for once you have like enough agility, you can maybe go down survival to get lightning reflexes, the percentage agility, but you have to have like a certain gear threshold there for that to be viable. Most of the time you pretty much put 31 points into marks, and then you either go 20 points survival or you can move them to beast too. It just kind of depends if you're at a point where your pet can constantly be attacking the target or not, but pretty much marksman.
And for PvP, marksman as well, you said?
I mean, you can do you have a little more freedom, like if you want to get Wyvern Sting or go like a kind of hybrid build in survival. There's a lot of survivability.
I've seen like a lot of survival, and I mean, it just seems like while leveling, like Beast Mastery is so strong, especially if it's like if the guy's a couple levels higher. I mean, he doesn't have to hit you. His pet can just kill you.
Yeah.
It just seems like you would think that BM would be better in PvP, but it's not really in like a battleground, I guess, experience because it's more like a 1v1 thing, I guess, is where BM shines. Is that what you would say?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the burst potential of marksman is just so high.
Yeah.
Like you just scatter trap someone and you can aim shot into a multi shot, and if you crit them, man, you'll destroy people,
So
especially
scatter
class.
shot is you have to scatter, feign death, trap,
Yeah,
right?
trap.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what do you think about Melee Hunter? Like I was watching Countdown to Class. I was listening to Countdown to Classic, and they had a guy on who does a lot of theory crafting. He does like I forget his name, but he did like Druid theory crafting. He actually did like balanced Druid theory crafting. And he said that they got a Melee Hunter who it was. They said the Hunter is one of the best person to use a Nightfall, the axe,
Yeah.
other than like a
Just
warrior.
spam wing clip.
Yeah, and they said he got like it was doing like 1,000 DPS Melee
Wow.
Hunter.
That's not bad at all. I think most of the time they usually have them spam wing clip because you can just spam
Right.
it over and over like a low rank or whatever,
Right.
and it has a high proc chance for Nightfall. But I leveled like melee because I had no idea what I was doing, you know,
It's fun,
when I was first playing. And I remember I was in STV, and my other hunter friend, he ended up going marksman, and he crit something for like 1,000 with an aim shot, and I was like, oh my gosh. So like from that point on, I was like, all right, I got to do that, you know,
Yeah.
because I knew nothing about the game while I was playing, and I remember that pretty well. But I don't know. I mean, I'd be up for trying any weird spec like that. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of vanilla. Is like I'm
Yep.
way like this time when I go to play, I'm way into like the weird hybrid specs. You know,
Yep.
getting random talents here and there, because that's the beauty of it. I think is a lot of people say like the itemization is bad. You know, there's items you'd never use, but honestly, like there's odd like niche specs that would use all kinds of
Yep.
stuff. You know, whether you're doing like return damage paladin farming, like
Yep.
that's just so cool to me.
Yep.
And you can't do that stuff anymore
Nope.
because
You can't. The freedom was amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
yeah, because
And,
like they say you play a class, not a spec in vanilla. So
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the main strengths is you can
Yep.
do, you know, subtlety rogues as hemo with, you know, it's just all kinds of cool stuff. I
love
think
it.
that's really neat.
And you know, so would you say? Because I think that there is still so much of vanilla that is to be learned. Like people always say, "Oh, everyone's done everything in vanilla." Like I don't think so. I think there are still things to be explored. Like there are theory crafters that like are still doing. They have so much. Like you know, you talk about like a holy weaving, like using a holy priest instead of a shadow priest to put the shadow weaving debuff on a target and being a healer. And then I was thinking like, oh, maybe you could do that. Like maybe get like vampiric embrace, like do some like keep I don't know, keep shadow word pain on the boss. Maybe get improved shadow word, improved vampiric embrace, and have like that dot like heal, like raid heal, while also healing. Just like crazy little things like that I'm thinking of. Like, oh, that would be cool to try out.
Tank as a
Or,
shaman.
like
Yeah.
tanking as a shaman. Like it just you know, I love it. Like I found a two-handed plus 15 defense sword the other day with 100 armor. I'm like, who the hell would use this? And just like you said, like maybe a melee hunter. Like I don't know. Like it's just like
Yeah.
crazy. Like I don't know who would use that sword, but like there's just like so many items like that that are just so weird. But like you said, when you
Yeah.
think about it, there's so many things to be explored still.
Yeah,
I think.
I think there's a use for almost everything. I think the majority of stuff has been pretty fleshed out. Like, but
Yeah.
but you also like we won't know until we get like actual like Blizzard values for everything, like resists and stuff. Like
Yeah, that's very
these
true.
are all based on kind of estimations, but I just think there's so many cool items that do have a use. Maybe it's not like your best PvE raid spec use, but like that's the best part of vanilla, I think,
Yep.
is just odd items like, you know, Hand of Edward the Odd or whatever. Most
Mhm.
people aren't gonna raid
Yep.
with that, but if you're like farming on a paladin, that thing's the deal, you know?
Yeah.
It's just cool. It's cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think once we get an actual official version, we'll have a lot more of that stuff popping up.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, you know, private servers, they do a great job. Well, like what I said, they're kind of like a cover band, you know, like they do the best they can with what they have. But I think, you know, we might be seeing, people might be surprised at how different things are might be in a true vanilla classic, unless they're looking towards private servers. But, you know, I think they have, you know, like all the original information on like boss damage, health and stuff like that. And I think like private servers did kind of, an estimate, that kind of thing. But it'll be interesting. Like resistance, is a lot different in like actual vanilla was the resistance. I know like on private servers, focus of like the pets generates like twice as fast as it did in vanilla. Little things like that is going to have a big difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
So, Korlain, what are your plans for the future? When Classic WoW comes out, do you plan on trying to roll a hunter and go get Grand Marshal again, or do you have different priorities this time?
I'll definitely have a hunter alt, but I play pretty much melee now. Like my name Korlain is from my warrior, which I started playing after, but I played that for the majority of my time. But yeah, I'll definitely I'll probably be a warrior, probably Fury.
Nice.
I'll definitely PvP. I don't think I can commit to getting rank 14. Because
you did it once, man. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm way busier now,
Yeah.
but I would. I guess if it was reasonably possible, I would try for it again, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah, mostly probably just gonna make a guild with all my friends because that's like what I don't know if they realize how big this is gonna be, but like everyone that I know that played is like, oh, I'm coming back for that.
Yep.
Like they're all coming back, and it's just gonna be great. So I'm just looking forward to finally having everyone I know on the same server. When I log on, there's actually people in guild that I know, and just seeing the same people on the server. That's what it's all about.
I know, dude. I'm looking forward to like maybe even meeting some of the people that I've met like back in vanilla, back in BC. Like how awesome would it be? Like I had some really cool buddies. Like remember Sincor? It was a buddy that I met back in I think it was like BC. He was my arena partner. Like really cool. And then we had like guys from the old guild. Like, how cool would it be to, maybe see somebody like that again, or even just get together with people. Like, I know people who stopped playing in like BC or even late vanilla that are coming back for Classic.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be huge, and I think a lot of people underestimate. People say, "Oh, it's not going to get more than they're not even getting 1 million or this and that." Like, dude, I don't know, man, but I think it's going to be. I think eventually it will become the premier version of WoW, because I don't think the hype for BFA is all that big. I really don't.
Yeah. You look at the live streams and it's always classic. People are just spamming classic.
Classic win.
But I actually have a pretty good story. I ended up when we made our guild in Burning Crusade, the one with my real life friends. We ended up getting this warlock who we didn't know him. We just recruited him from the server, and he raided with us for a while. The guild ended up falling apart, and we started playing on a PvP server, and he ended up coming with us. And it wasn't like we really knew him that well. He was just a raider, and he ended up playing with us, and he became my arena partner. And I played with him for years, and he lived in California, and I live in Florida, and he ended up flying over for my wedding with my wife, because he played with us for that long, and it was kind of like, we only knew him through WoW, and it was really cool.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah,
that's great.
Stuff like that's awesome.
Yeah, I can honestly say I've made friends in WoW that have been better friends than in real life. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You get to know, like, your guild is almost like your family.
Yeah.
And that kind of just companion camaraderie is just like, you don't get that in any other game, and and so I'm going to go into this now. A lot of people say that the community, especially the vanilla WoW community, the private server community, is toxic. You know what I mean? Do you think that's warranted, or do you think that's more of just a loud minority of the community?
It's probably a loud minority. I mean, it's definitely there a little bit, like, for sure. But I don't think, like, I think when Classic comes out, I don't think it's going to be like us versus them, private server versus, or like, Classic versus retail so much. I think the people that actually stay and make it past level 10, the nature of vanilla is kind of that, like, reaching out and helping the person next to you. You're forced into it. So I don't really think it's going to carry over. You're going to have the people that are super experienced that aren't going to be, you know, patient or whatever.
Mhm.
But I think that's going to be a minority of the players, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I do too. Because the way you look at it, right, it's like when you help somebody else out, you're a lot of the times helping yourself out. Whether
Yeah,
it's in a dungeon, you know, oh yeah, to do this, hey, you might want to shoot this mob. You're helping yourself out.
yeah,
And, you know, you're also helping this guy out. And, you know, I like helping people out. I think it's great. And I know a lot of people who do, especially in vanilla. And I think the community is what made vanilla what it was. And I think a lot of that will transfer over to classic, especially with the people who are going to be playing it. People like us, people like yourself. That's what matters. You know, the soul, the heart and soul of vanilla is the community. You know,
yeah.
you could have everything without that community, it would never be the same. And I'm really excited for it because I really think that we have even just our little community that we've gotten together here on Defcamp and Melderon TV. We've gotten an amazing group of people in our community, and I think about it every once in a while, and I'm just like, wow, you know, like the people who have reached out to us, who have talked to us, who've come here on and done Def Talk with us, have just been some of the most amazing people that I've met, and like I'm just so glad to be able to play a game with you guys. You know what I mean? It's like awesome.
Yeah.
So with all that said, you know, all that in the future, um, what do you think is going to be the outcome of vanilla? Do you think it's going to be, you know, like everything everyone's saying it's going to be, you know, like 5 million? Do you think it's going to be the best game, the best thing ever? Or what do you think is going to happen?
I think it's certainly going to do well.
Yeah.
It's the, I would I wouldn't be surprised if it was at least close to the max number of subscriptions they've ever had, because I know like everyone that I know is gonna play
I
it,
know.
and I feel like that's a lot of people, and it really depends on how they go about it. I think they should be all for it. Like, be proud of the original version of the game and like do trailers, make it big. Like, you can. There's no downside if people come back for that. Maybe they'll try BFA, or maybe they won't. I'm sure it'll be
Yeah.
like it'll probably be subscription based, I'd assume.
Mhm. Yeah.
But like, go big with it, and I could see it doing really well. You know, going the whole old school RuneScape route. I mean,
Yeah.
did well for them.
I think Blizzard for a long time took this the wrong way. I think when
Yeah.
they initially saw how we wanted this to come back, they were like, oh, "You don't like all the work we've been putting into."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, you're missing the point. We love the way the game was, and that isn't a slap in the face. I don't think that's a you should be proud of that, and
Yeah.
don't take it the wrong way. I think that's what it was, and I think they took it the wrong way for a very long time, especially J. Allen Brack, and when they realized how much money they could potentially make,
Yeah.
and how powerful the movement, the Stalrius movement was, they were just like, we got to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that someone in that business, someone in that organization had sense to say.
I just don't get why they were so like against it. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
like, you know, when they release like Majora's Mask, do people who say like, oh, I want to play Ocarina of Time, are they like, why do you want to play that? Like, no, just
Yeah.
be
Right.
like, I think they should definitely release like a BC server. Be like, man, you know, this was our product, man. A lot of people love this game.
Yep.
Like, I just don't see the downsides, honestly.
Yeah, I think as like Melderon said, as a company, they were kind of afraid of splitting the community as well as kind of taking it the wrong way of, oh well, what the hell we put all this. And you know what? Like, it's not all Blizzard's fault. A lot of it is our fault. It's, you know, oh, we want this change, we want this change, we want this change, we want this, we want this. And then we see what happens when they implement all these changes, like, oh, you know what? I don't like this anymore. Let's go back to the way it was. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is like our fault. The player base. Oh, we want things to be quicker. We want everything to be more fast paced. We want, you know, it's got to be quicker. I don't have enough time. I want to do a quick dungeon. I want to do a quick raid. And, you know, you get all these complaints. And that's what turned WoW into what it is today. And what
Yeah.
it was in Cat and what it was in Warlords. And a lot of it was from the community. And a lot of it, you know, oh, it sounds like it'd be good on paper, but when you actually play it, you'll lose what made vanilla special, what
Yeah.
made BC special, and that's what people are realizing, and they just want to go back to that. You know what I mean? And I think Blizzard is just realizing that. You know, I think they've embraced it at this point, because I was so surprised when they announced Classic. Like, I did not think I thought that they were going to do it, but I didn't think they were going to do it until retail was gone.
Yeah,
So,
like an afterthought kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, let's
Like,
get
like
whoever
that
we can.
last breath.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they promote it really well. I think they could do a lot more, esport wise with like a new season or whatever you want to call it. Like, I just think it could be really good.
Yeah.
Give people more things to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I had a great time talking with you today, Korlain. Guys, once again, this was another episode of DefTalk. We wanted to let you guys know that if you want to be on an episode of DefTalk, we've got email address here. We've got a Discord. Just, guys, send us an email. We really like to get the members of the community on here just to get a feeling of what is on your mind and what you guys want to see in Classic, some of your experiences. Having someone like Korlain on today was amazing. An actual Grand Marshal of the Alliance, someone who has some of the most amazing vanilla WoW experience. I was just so glad to have you on. Thank you so much for coming, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Also, quick housekeeping. If you're interested in seeing the character that Korlain hit Grand Marshal with, there will be a WoW Armory link in the description to the character. It's not the same name. It's a Ryzen now. You did a name and race change, I believe. And there's also a WoW Wiki link for Kilrog, the server that lists all of the Grand Marshals and has your Grand Marshal's name, which was...
There's a little bit of a story behind that if you want me to.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So I came from Halo, right? And I originally wanted the name Revan, and it was taken because I started pretty late in vanilla. And so in Halo, you'd always put like brackets on either side of your name. At least that's what my friends did. So I ended up having Revan with like a capital I in the beginning and an L at the end. And so that's what ended up being my name was I Revenal. It didn't really make any sense, but that's just what I was used to.
That's what it
and
is.
I just ended up sticking with it. So it's
Nice.
kind of a weird name, but yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Grand
those-
Marshal, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Your name
so
could be I'm a noob. Like,
Yeah.
Grand Marshal, I'm a noob. Like, okay, that's all that matters. Grand Marshal.
Yeah, exactly. So those links will be in the description as well. Armory plus the WoW PD page for Kilrog, so you can see his one of the Grand Marshals that hit on Kilrog. So that's all there.
Yes. Also, guys, 1,500 subscribers.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, guys. Thank you so much. We love each and every single one of you guys. You guys have been an inspiration to Melderon and I. We're going to keep on pumping out content. I've been playing a little bit too much, but I've got a lot of stuff in store for you guys. We've got more Def Talks, more vlogs, more. What else do we do? Super Plate Brothers coming soon. Give us a little bit of time on that next one.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit for that, but we do have other non-series videos that are coming out as well.
Yes.
So,
but guys, again, leave a like, subscribe. We got to work that with YouTube. We don't need your blood sample anymore, just your social security number. So send that in as well. And no, just kidding. So yeah, subscribe, leave a like, all that stuff, guys. Thank you so much. All right, guys, this is Defcamp.
and Melderon and
Korlain.
signing off.
Signing out.
Keep on and grinding, baby. Oh yeah.